And welcome to today's lesson, which will be looking at percentages in word problems. See, my last lesson looked at how we can work out a percentage of a number. This is basically the same thing, but it's identifying what exactly we're working out. Word problems in general are a vital skill in maths. So doing the maths is important, but sometimes that's only half the battle. And in word problems, the other half of the battle is actually working out what maths you're being asked to do. So here I've got an example for you. We've got, in a sale, a dress that was originally worth £80 has been reduced by 40%. How much does the dress cost currently? So, what are we actually being asked to do? Well, we know the dress was originally worth £80. And it has been reduced by 40%. So what does that mean? It means we've got to take away 40% of £80 from £80. Now, all of a sudden, what we're effectively being asked is, what is 40% of 80? The units as pounds, we will have to put them back in at the end, but for now we can just deal with the 80. Now we can work out 40% of 80. You may remember from my last lesson, 40% is equal to 2/5, so we do 2/5 times 80. You get that, you work that out, you get that to be 32. And then, because it was reduced by 40%, we have to take that 40% off. So 80 minus 32, which comes out as 48. And then, because remember, originally it was £80, we have to put the units back in. So the dress is currently worth £48. There we go. Not too hard, is it? There is actually another way of doing this. Exactly the same. If something has been reduced by 40%, so the £80 is the whole thing. So £80 is effectively, rub some of this off. £80 is effectively 100%. So we know that £80 equals 100%. If we're taking off 40%, well, 100% minus 40% equals 60%. Terrible percent sign. And we can do that. We can work out what is 60% of £80. 60% is 3/5. Do 3/5 times 80, and you will get the answer to be £48. I should include the pound signs there. Exactly the same problem, exactly the same answer, just a slightly different way. So that's percentage decrease. Then if I move on, I'll give up rubbing that out. Move on. Here's a different question. We've got a percentage increase. So in 2010, Tommy bought a car for £20,000. Since then, the car has increased in value by 25%. How much is Tommy's car worth now? So again, we've got the two ways of doing this. We can start by saying, well, first of all, we're going to start by highlighting and identifying the important information. So original cost, £20,000. Increased in value by 25%. So we're effectively being asked, what is 25% of, I'll keep the units in, £20,000. Again, we know how to do this. 25% is just 1/4, or 25/100, if you're not so good. Quarter times £20,000, or 20,000, is just 5,000. And because it was an increase, we then have to add that on. So 20,000 plus 5,000 obviously equals 25,000. Again, we can do this a different way. We can do it exactly the same method as we used for the second way on the last one. So £20,000 is 100%. Just bear with me. There we go. So £20,000 equals 100%. Okay, and we're adding 25%. It's increasing by 25%. So we get 100% plus 25%, fairly easy, equals 125%. Okay, so we can do 125%, 125 over 100 times our 20,000. The 125 over 100 simplifies to 5 over 4, or 1 plus 1 over 4. However you want to do it, 5 over 4 times 20,000 is still going to get you 25,000. So, in essence, there are two ways of working these out. You can either work out the actual value of the percentage change, so that's the first method. So work out what the 25% is, and then add that on or subtract it, whatever you're being asked to do. Or you can work out the overall percentage of the new value, which is 100% plus or minus the percentage change. So here 100% plus 25%, and then just work out the value of that overall percentage. So, one more question. In a sale, a pair of shoes originally worth £130 is now being priced at £91. What percentage has been taken off the price? And how much would a pair of shoes originally costing £90 be worth in the same sale? So here we can see we've got two questions. So before we move on to the second one, we'll start with the first one. Good place to start. So originally worth £130, now worth £91. And we are looking for the percentage. It is worth knowing that. Sometimes you might be asked, what fraction of the original price is the new price? Something like that. We want the percentage that has been taken off, not the percentage of the original price that the new price is, percentage that has been taken off. Again, there are two ways to do this. We'll start with the first way. Well, how much has been taken off? £130 minus £91 equals £39. And what is £39 as a percentage of £130? Because that's what's been taken off. Well, if we work that out, calculate a percentage, 39 over 130, and then times 100 to get it into a percentage. We'll find that equals 30%. There, not too bad. So what percentage has been taken off? 30% has been taken off. The other way of doing this, unsurprisingly, basically doing it using the percentages rather than the values. So we know that £130, sorry, is 100%. What is £91 as a percentage of £130? Can work that out. Same way, 91 over 130 times 100. You'll find that equal to 70%. And then the percentage that has been taken off is obviously 100% minus 70%. Therefore, 30% has been taken off. Oh look, we got the same result. It's almost as if the maths actually works. Okay, so those are your three different types of questions. You get a percentage decrease, a percentage increase, or work out the percentage of the increase or decrease. So, your turn. Part 2. How much would a pair of shoes originally costing £90 be worth in the same sale? I'll help you out to start. Important information, originally costing £90 and in the same sale. So as we've just found out, the sale was a deduction of 30%. So feel free to pause if you need a bit more time. Otherwise, answer coming now. So either way, we start with £90. 30% of £90 is £27. We know 90 times 3 over 10, which is 30%, to 27. And then we just do 90 minus 27 to get us 63. So the total answer is £63. Again, you can do it the other way. Say, well, I've got 100% minus 30% equals 70%. So I just want 70% or 7/10 of £90, which equals £63. However you do it, get £63, you'll get the marks. Okay, so one more question, and this time I'm not going to do any of the work for you until it's time for the answer. So 20 years ago, Jemima bought a house for £400,000. This year she sold it for £520,000. Work out the profit she made as a percentage. Then, assuming the percentage value increases the same, how much would a house that was bought 20 years ago for £350,000 be worth? That is obviously worth now, worth this year. Okay, again, pause the video if you need more time. Wouldn't surprise me. And I will go through. So starting with the first question. 20 years ago, that's just background. We've got £400,000 originally. Got £520,000 now, and we want the profit. And not the overall percentage, the profit. So specifically the percentage increase. It's important knowing these words: reduction, decrease, that sort of thing, or profit, increase. Oh yeah, loss as well as a decrease. Knowing the different words for a decrease or an increase is essential in working out what you're being asked. Okay, so let's start with £400,000. Those are terrible zeros. Sometimes you'll see it written, these large numbers written just like that, with just a load of zeros, and you'll be expected to count them. Sometimes you'll actually be lucky, they'll put something like this with a space in between. Hopefully make that a bit bigger. Yeah, like that. Or sometimes you'll get a comma. You'll be expected to work with all different forms. They're all the same number, it's just some are nicer presentation than others. So, starting with £400,000, sold it for £520,000. Now, obviously the percentage increase is as a percentage of £400,000 of the original. So what is the actual value increase? Well, we've got 520,000 minus 400,000, which is 120,000. 120,000 as a percentage of 400,000 is, if you work it out, oh sorry, I forgot the times 100, otherwise that's a decimal, it's a percentage. You'll find this is equal to a 30%. And as we know, that's a 30% increase. That's one way. Again, you could do it the other way. Work out 520,000 is as a percentage of 400,000. you'll find that's 130%, and obviously the increase is going to be 130% minus 100%, which quite clearly equals 30%. And again, this is an increase. Now, part 2. Got this lovely little phrase, assuming the percentage value increase is the same, basically means using the value you've just found out. So, I'll come back to that. Oh, that was a horrible highlight, sorry. How much would a house that was bought 20 years ago? Basically just saying you're doing this, you're just increasing this number, £350,000, by 30%. So we know this was a 30% increase. So, it's part 2. I don't have any more space, I have to rub some of this off. But we're going to start, again, there are 2 ways of doing this. Start by doing it the value way. This should be enough space. Yeah, good, ready. So, initial price, £350,000. We're increasing it by 30%. First of all, what is 30% of £350,000? Well, plug it into your calculator. I'll very quickly do it in my head. It should be £105,000. So that's 30%. Obviously, that's 3/10 times £350,000. For these questions, obviously, do be using a calculator. You don't want to be working out these large numbers in your head like I'm trying to do. So obviously 30% increase means we add that, so £350,000 plus £105,000 is just going to be £455,000. Similarly, we know it's 30% increase, 100% plus 30% equals 130%, and then we just want to do 350,000 times 130% is 13/10, and if you plug that into your calculator, surprise surprise, you're going to get £455,000. So that's all for this video. Hopefully this was useful. For my next video I will be looking at ratios, including some word problems relating to them. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you found it useful.